Hey, Morgan J, man, this is great. I'm excited to talk about this topic. It's actually my favorite topic and probably the most, as you said a second ago, the most important topic in sales. And I think there's just a lot going on right now, that we could all use a little bit of mindset and positivity and challenge towards that in our own brain. So yeah, man, I'm curious, like, what's top of your mind right now in thinking about this topic?
I think first and foremost, we have to all think about what's the conversation we're having with ourselves. And the reason I'm saying that is, like, just to go like just deep right here, right in the beginning, is there's laws that are in the universe, you know, whether you like to believe them or not, like the law of reflection, the law of growth, etc. There's a whole book on this by John C. Maxwell, The 15 Laws of Growth. And so essentially things that we should be focused on is, okay, what am I telling myself that I'm going to do like today? So, hey, am I going to hit this goal? Am I going to go do this thing? Right? Am I going to be able to make X amount of calls? And so like the mindset, like what we're talking about here is, what are you telling your subconscious in like the spiritual realm, essentially, to go into like the physical realm? And so what that all pans out to is having I am happy and grateful statements. I don't know if you guys have heard of an affirmation before, but this is something that I do myself to make sure that I'm always staying in a high octane energy state. So for example, if you went to go ahead and request it from me. Okay, cool. So if you went this morning, right, tomorrow morning, whatever, and right, I am happy and grateful that I was able to schedule a meeting, or I'm happy and grateful that I made 50 calls, or I'm happy and grateful that the fact that you wrote that down helps your mindset, helps your actions put yourself in that positive light. And so that's where I just want you all to think about, like, what are the affirmations that you're doing in the morning? Another thing of that is Tony Robbins, which is priming. So like priming yourself for the day. But those are things that like are critical right now, because there's so much negativity. There's negative news, negative people, Facebook, all that stuff. You want to make sure that you're priming yourself in the right direction. But really, I think this time is really for people in the comments, right, the audience, to come and ask us questions, and then we could really just drill into people, because obviously I agree. Talk about mindset all day long, but let's get people in here.
I agree. Yeah, hey guys, so request permission at the top right, and come join us. Nikki, I see you. Everyone, we're gonna get
all y'all in here. So like, just hang tight.
First off, can I just say, I'm so happy we're finally connecting here. I feel like I've been connected with you on LinkedIn for like a year, so super cool to see you on the panel here. So thanks for popping in.
First of all, hi, Bryan Elsesser. And what up, Morgan?
Yeah.
I had to be in this session, even though the other ones were pretty compelling. I had to be in this one because I think you're right, that if we don't get this part correct, not even just in sales, but like in your daily life, if you don't get this part right, how do you even get out of bed? So I want to touch on Morgan's affirmation statements and what a huge need I've had for those in this time. So I was already in a job search before this whole thing really hit, right? So starting at about the end of February, I was looking for my next role. And then I just saw, the response times from employers to start to get, longer and longer. And then they weren't coming at all. And, what it left me at is recognizing an entrepreneurial spirit in myself, right? Figuring out what is it that I could do that I don't actually need an organization or a title or validation to do. And so the grateful statement that came out of that is, I'm grateful for the skills and experiences that I was able to gain up to this point, because I'm not sure, how much more difficult this time would be without those things. I've been able to take those skills and build other people up, which keeps me feeling positive, even though this is a really tough time for me, candidly, financially, and in terms of, in my career, trying to find, what that next step looks like. But so it's this twofold thing, right? Focusing on that positivity, and then looking at how I can sort of keep those things, those skills that I'm so grateful for, sharp in the meantime, right? And hopefully be able to create, with the content that I'm putting out, some sort of inbound funnel for prospective employers for when this thing turns around. So I guess I didn't have a question, just more of something to add.
So No, and you know what? And I think it's a good direction, because I don't think that your situation right now is
Unique.
all that, frankly, unique to so many. Like there's so many people that are dealing with this exact scenario right now, and that becomes really, really hard. And Nikki, just for sort of sake for the next person that's going to ask a question, I'm going to just X you here, but we're going to keep going. But like, I don't think that is a unique issue. I think that people are struggling with this. It's like, I'll tell a personal story. Before I got into eMarketer, which was before I got to Aircall, so it was a while ago. Like, dude, I was unemployed, and I'd never been unemployed before. And you start getting that head trash going, right? Like, man, what did I do wrong? And you get those 5 stages of grief going. You're like, what's going on? I got news for you. Like, take it easy on yourself. You have done great things and great work, and you owe it to yourself to feed your brain with the positive stuff. Right? So I think inputs, outputs, not in just my cell stuff, but in my brain stuff. Like, good inputs here equal good outputs here. And like, that is how you're going to feel like really strong, really good about what it is that you're doing. I don't know, Morgan, what do you think?
I mean, I think ultimately, right, as we get the next person in here, like the main thing to think about is the story that you're telling yourself. That energy that you have is the energy that your prospect feels. And so the reason that this is important, right? And we're talking about mindset, and then again, we're going to bring people in and answer questions. And if you have questions in the chat, you obviously can do that as well. But the whole goal here, right, is in elevating your own mindset and your positivity, you can transfer that energy to the prospect. So when someone feels that energy from you, when they feel that positivity from you, then they're like, okay, this is a person that I want to work with. This is a person that I want to talk to. And a lot of people tell me that when I'm having conversations with them, they're like, wow, you're the first positive person I've talked to all day. That's a you want to go work with, because you're like, that person has energy. Yeah. They sound like they're in a good direction, and I want to partner with them. And so that's what we're definitely diving into today. But Jerry, what's going on?
Thanks for having me.
You're in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious your thoughts. I know you guys manage people, and like I'm sure you manage people who get into slumps, like during the real world, like normal times, and coach them through that. But like, I know me personally, a lot of people I'm talking to, it just feels like damn, like no companies are hiring, no one's spending money, just like feel like putting in twice the amount of effort for like 10% of the output or results. But just I don't know, I guess, how are you like talking to your team and kind of helping them like mentally get through this, like, so they're not just spinning their wheels and, getting no results?
What you should be telling yourself is have a theme, right? So a lot of people have been posting about themes. My theme is ascension. So that means that through all this, I'm just going to ascend. And that means that this is the time to get better. So how I'm personally motivating myself is, okay, there's a lot of things that are happening right now. Budgets are frozen. People don't want to talk to me. That means that my mindset now is this is a great opportunity for me to not only grow as a sales professional, but as a professional. So now what I'm doing to keep myself motivated is truly understanding what I like to call the ICP's ICP. So the people that I'm talking to, are their buyers still making money? If their buyers are still making money, then I can still have that conversation with them. So essentially, that's how I'm keeping myself moving. And also how I'm keeping myself moving is in the morning, I write down 3 targets that I want to accomplish. So based on studies, if you write down what you want to accomplish that day and you get it done, that acts as a small win towards your day. So the more wins that you get as a human, the more that you're going to appreciate that day. So these things can be, again, little things. They could be 5 push-ups, call a prospect, make 5 videos. They don't have to be crazy. And the key thing here is that, going to Jerry's question right here, is that you want to find out that piece right there. Like, what are those 3 things that you want to go knock out today? And that will keep you motivated. And then also, this is a great time to find someone to hold yourself accountable to. Like, how I'm staying motivated is I have a right now on LinkedIn, and it's me, but there's like 4 people. So there's 2 AEs and 2 SDRs. And we're literally just every day like, yo, do this prospecting technique. Hey, this is how I close the deal today. This is how I handle objections. And we're feeling off of each other's wins. So I know that we're all winning. Even if I had a bad day and I see that group, I know somebody's winning in that group. So I know it's still possible. So the biggest thing at the end of the day is you have to find people that are doing it, knowing that it is possible, and they'll help you keep motivated to take action.
I'll put something. I'll add something on there too for you. And just you asked how am I talking to my team? Look, like we're in a kind of a weird place in the economy, right? That's an understatement, and we know that that's the case, but we also know that's not going to stay that way forever, right, guys? This is cyclical. This stuff is absolutely cyclical. So if we know that we're in a down spot right now, okay, cool. It's not going to always be that way. So here's my thought. Keep working. Keep your head down. Keep your chin down, because you're building out Q3. You're building out Q4. You're building out relationships and rapport that are going to absolutely pay off dividends later. Stop focusing on your quota now. Focus on how you can help the person now. Focus on what you can do for them and add value to their life now. And when it comes time for that situation changes for them and they are in that market, they're going to remember you. I think John Barrows had a really great video he put up about like, hey, like ask people, I get this isn't the right time for you. I get this isn't good for you, but like, help me understand, how can I stay top of mind? What can I do to be top of mind? And then do it, right? Like build a plan, it's what it is.
Blake?
What's up, guys?
Cool.
I didn't realize
Great
I was
question.
going to like butt in with that. I thought I had to go through.
We're here, bro.
First of all,
You're good.
guys.
Love it. This is what it's about. In fact, there's a queue on this, everybody. There's a queue, so just request and we're going to line you up. So Blake,
get
welcome.
Some context first. So we're in a day and age, I feel like, where just everything is just blending together. There's no days of the week. It's like yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So I'd love to hear you guys' perspective on what do I do to like track progress? Because I feel like I wake up every day, I'm busting my tail off, but like I never feel any closer or really any further behind. It's just work. There's no way to kind of keep track of the progress.
So let me wait, actually don't leave yet, because this is important to answer the question. Yeah. What lifestyle are you looking to achieve?
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that question, Morgan?
Yeah. So what I mean by that is that like everyone on here right now, you're in sales for a reason, you're in management for a reason, whatever that is, right? And so most people, like let's say you're a leader or maybe you're a rep, you probably got asked the question, what motivates you? Most people say money. That's the most crap answer of all time, because you're not motivated by money. Because when you ask the layering question of what are you going to buy with that money, it normally is cars, houses, a necklace, right? A camera. I got one over here. Like no one's ever motivated by money. And if they are, they would just hoard their money and never spend it. You would just save it, right? But that's false, because 72% of people live paycheck to paycheck. So you ain't motivated by money. You're motivated by something else. Otherwise you'd have that money, right? So the reason I'm asking you that question about what your lifestyle wants to be is because that's where your focus should be, right? That's what your goal would be. So like if you told me, hey, Morgan, I want my lifestyle to be where I can travel every other month. Or, hey, Morgan, I want my lifestyle where I'm just working 9 to 5 and I want to focus more on my family. So the reason
I'll give you that answer.
You see what I'm saying? So that's what I asked you there.
So I think, and I love your point about money. Money is a tool. You can build great things with it. You can break things down with it. But for me, I think the biggest thing is it's influence. Like the thing I love about sales is that you're solving problems for people. Sometimes they just don't know what the problem is yet, right? And so if you're in a position of influence, people, they trust you, you're credible, and they're a little bit more vulnerable so that you can actually help them. I think one of the challenges we face as salespeople is people have their guard up. They don't trust us. We don't have that influence in their life and their situation. So whether that's a conversation with a client or doing a webinar with, tens of hundreds of people in it, right? Having influence to actually impact people's lives.
Blake,
that's right.
Blake, we're mirrors, right? As humans, we're mirrors. And so I'll put this out there for you. And by the way, I'm going to click you out. It's not personal. Again. So like we're mirrors. And as mirrors, the energy we're putting in front of our people is the energy we're going to get back. That is bar none the way it works in just general life, okay? And you can take that to the bank. I think there's an element like I want to take a step back to your original question. You're like, how do I make it so that the days don't blend together? The days are going to blend together if you allow them to. That's your choice. You're choosing to let them blend together because you haven't set that calendar out. You haven't set those goals out. You haven't set that personal time out. You haven't carved out exactly what you need to accomplish on a daily basis. That's setting yourself up for success, right? Dude, like, I won't, like, Colin makes fun of me all the time for the things that I do outside of Aircall. And that's great. But the thing is that I know what the pieces of my life that make me tick and make me feel whole, right? I love leading people in the fire department, right? I love singing in front of thousands of people. Absolutely love it, right? I love being a dad to 3 awesome little men that are going to be like just little champions of themselves. These are things that get me so fired up. And I know that I need to carve out time for each and every piece of it. And by doing so, I feel whole. When I feel whole, my team feels whole. When they feel whole, their customers feel whole. That's how it works. It's that trickle-down effect. So you need to carve out that time, man. Yeah, that's what I tell you. I see Chris Gannon up, man. We can bring Chris in.
We'll get Chris's question. So I got three things for Blake here.
Yeah,
One is do a diary in the morning so you know what day it is. Right, and this is coming from Thoreau. So Thoreau went out and did quarantine. So if you guys want to know about how to handle quarantine, Henry David Thoreau, one of the great writers and philosophers of our time, did a quarantine in the woods. Like, he's doing what we're doing right now, and he tells you exactly how he did it. Like, I'm actually going and studying Thoreau right now because I'm like, he's the best person to learn from right now because he was in the quarantine. He quarantined himself. So one of the main things there is that he had a diary. So he wrote down day 1, day 2, day 3. If you've seen Avengers, Tony Stark does the same thing. Hey, day 1, day 2, day 3. So when you're in this quarantine, you have to document these days. And it goes right into my second point, which is if you want to influence and inspire people right now, what you should be focused on is documenting this journey right now. Like, what are you doing? That's what I don't see a lot of people doing that. Like, right now, if you look at all my posts lately, it's just me documenting, like, what's going on. I'm like, hey, I learned this today. Here's the book I'm reading. Here's some insights that I'm going to give you. Here's stuff I'm doing right now. And the problem is people are trying to create things instead of just documenting what's happening. I want to hear from people in the front lines, like, what's going on? Like, I'm not an SDR. I'm not leading a massive team. I'm doing sales training. I have a full sales cycle role. I want to hear from people who are doing it right now and in it. Like, what are you doing? What's your mental state? What's your routine? What's your night routine? Are you drinking wine right after this, right? Are you playing video games to get released? Like, I want to know that. And that's what you should do to influence people, because people gravitate towards that than fabricated content. And that's just speaking from experience. And then 3, you want to impress people. I would say every call that you have, think of a question that gets someone to be like, that's a great question, and gets them to be impressed with you. That's my goal every call, is to either get someone to pause and be like, oh, you know what you're doing, or be like, that was a really great question, and they really got to think about it. So best way to do that is go pick up a book. I mean, I got over here, I have question-based selling. I'll pull it out. Question-based selling. It tells you like how to ask right questions to get people to think about the problems that your prospects are going through. But that's the way I would go about it. Oh, Chris.
What's up, Bryan? How are you?
All right,
you guys
Chris.
are doing a good job. This is awesome. I love it.
Good man.
The thing that keeps me up at night right now, which surprisingly as a recruiter is not money. It's not like, is anyone hiring? It's actually the mental well-being of my team. Like, not having that, like, now knowing that they're going to be locked down, and some of them, they're small little New York apartments for at least another month. Like, I wake up in the middle of the night concerned that these people sometimes might not be okay. Are you guys doing anything with your teams to go beyond the traditional role of like what a manager or leader would be to make sure they're okay every day?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me just start with this, Chris, and I put this out there for you, bud. Like, it's on you to develop some different ideas that are outside the box. You make sure, first off, make sure you connect me on LinkedIn. I'm going to introduce you to Bryan Smith at the end of this from Leon. He's got a great idea that you can get your team to do like a couple of group exercise kind of things, like, and just sort of get together and just outside the box. You're 100% right, man. People are locked up in their apartment, and that's not a place that you want to be locked up, because it's not just their apartment that they're locked up in, it's their mind. Because that's what they get to live with, is their mind. It's their roommate, their spouse, or their mind. That's it. That's all you get. And so, like, that's a really hard thing because, you know, you get lost in thoughts, you get lost in things. I think like Matt Ostit, who's one of the leaders on my team, you know, we talk about this a lot, and it's like, it's not just about leading the metric. It's not just about talking about the business and the customer. I'd love it for it to be that way, but it's got to be a venting booth as well. It's got to be a place where people can just, you know, chat and talk about what's on their mind. You know, we do a couple things too, where like we have this we'll do like a remote happy hour, and we'll bring everybody on. And then on top of it, we have this like video game that you can like dial in from your phone. Right? So you're on Zoom playing the video game. Yeah, exactly. We're having so much fun, right? But like, it's important, I think, now more than ever to balance business and fun. Because exactly like you said, if you know your team's locked up in that apartment, think Colin Cadmus, dude. That guy's got a 200 square foot apartment. He's in with like, he can't leave. Like he literally like health wise can't. Like he's there. I tell you, like it's a real thing and it's a real struggle. I appreciate that question, Chris. Really, really awesome stuff. I did. So really awesome stuff. More, do you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
I lead a mastermind. So if you guys don't know what a mastermind is, it's just a collection of normally 5 to 7 minds that you bring together, and we meet weekly. And the reason that we do that, and this is why I'm telling you this, because it leads to your question, is we found that especially men in society, we do not like being vulnerable because we feel like we always have to be in strong state, especially African and American males. I'm not saying everyone in the group's African American, but half of us are. And so what we realized, there was no space for vulnerability to talk about what we were going through. And we just kind of like, yeah, it is what it is, but it affected our relationships, affected professional relationships as well. And so in that group, we made up an acronym, which you could tell your team the same acronym, and it's called MEPS. Mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. Those are the 4 elements that we focus on as humans, right? We have those 4 things that we go through. So to figure out where your team is at, instead of just saying like, hey, how you doing? Or like, yo, you're good. Or like, how are you dealing with these uncertain times, right? Like if I hear uncertain times one more time, I could be blackout every day if I heard how many times I hear uncertain times. Like, I'd be in every call just like blacked out. So, but the thing is, like what you guys do here, right? And this is to answer previous question here. Ask them at the beginning of every single, if you have a stand-up call, if you don't, insert a stand-up call immediately on Monday morning and ask them, hey guys, where are you at mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually? MEPS. Every single morning, if you're a leader on this call, ask about MEPS. Then once you've asked about the MEPS, then you can figure out what to give them. Maybe someone's like, yo, I'm a Christian and I'm not praying enough. Cool. That means, all right, rep, you need to be praying and I'm going to hold you accountable to that. Now I know what to hold you accountable to. Maybe you're like, you know what, man, I'm not working out in the morning. All right, cool. So I'm going to send you Instagram live classes all over the place now. I'll send you that. Maybe someone else is like, man, you know what? I'm just not doing my journal like I used to. All right, now I know to hammer on you for that journal. And so every single morning on that Monday morning meeting, ask them about their MEPS and then create exercises and activities around that. And like Bryan said, I agree with this point. What you choose is going to be up to you. I don't know your team. I don't know their psyche. I don't know them like from a psychology standpoint, but you know them better than both of us. So, but the MEPS is the structure of what to give them. TED Talks is obviously a great way to start out, but ask them about the MEPS, and that's how you get your team more motivated.
Anthony Franklin, I've been hearing about morning routines to set your mindset for today. What do you both do, or have you heard others do, to separate work from home life? Also, any night routines which prime you for a great tomorrow? I think this is a really important question. First off, if you haven't read it, go read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. That'll like redefine your morning and your life right away. That's your first mission. Yeah, I mean, Morgan, I don't know about you, man, but like my morning, like I'm very regimented. I like to get up. I know I want a cup of coffee. I know exactly what I eat for breakfast every single morning because that's just how I start my day, which is 2 eggs and a banana. Okay, that's just what it is, right? And then I'm ready to rock. Like I'm popping right into my routine. I'm making sure that at some point that I'm hitting the gym, and by right now, the gym for me is either a home workout or a track workout. The high school track and field is open, so I can head down there. And then my night routine, honestly, is shifted since I've been home. You know, I've spent 4 years with heavy commutes, 2 hours in, 2 hours out. I'm spending those 2 hours out now with my wife and my kids in a way that, you know what, it's like been really, really healthy. Eleanor, welcome. Give me 1 second. Just want to finish Morgan here and let him have an opportunity.
Were you good on that, Bryan? Was that
weigh in on that?
Yeah. So I keep my phone in my bedroom. Most people, I don't know the exact stat, but it's an insane stat how many people sleep with their phone under the pillow. It's a very high and alarming stat. So I just put my phone in another room. It's just in the living room in my apartment. And when I wake up, immediately first thing I do is pray. Like that's my thing. Some people meditate, some people do other things. I think I saw that like in the main panel. But I pray as soon as I get up. And then after I pray, what I do is I have my 6-minute diary. So all it says is, what are the 3 things that I'm grateful for every single morning that allows you to have perspective and be calm and relaxed during this time? That's why I'm not really that frantic right now. And then the next thing that I do is my happy and grateful statement. So, hey, I'm happy and grateful that whatever the main goal is for the day. And then what would I like to accomplish that day, or basically my targets. So those are like schedule a meeting, finish my content calendar, whatever that is. And then that's the morning. And then once I get done with that, then normally it's a workout. I hurt my Achilles, so I do like basically like stuff to just make sure I can exercise that. And then I do a visualization exercise. And so that's just an affirmation. So that's putting your mind in direct mode. So if you want to learn more about that, Mel Robbins has a great video on that. So that's basically putting my mindset in my brain towards success. So that's, hey, everything I do, I see it. So this is what successful actors do, like Will Smith, Leonardo DiCaprio. They do this same exact exercise. So I'm like, well, if they do it, I probably should. Like, just makes a lot of sense. So I visualize that success on my calls, on my prospecting, with my meetings, and then that's how I insert into my day. And then I read 10 pages and I'm ready to go. And then wind down is one of the hardest things for me to do because I work from home. So normally I travel. So it's been harder for me to do that. But what I do is normally I'll just shut off the computer, complete shutdown, so I can't do anything. And then normally I'll go and eat or watch a YouTube video, or I'll play like a video game, like a Call of Duty. That is a sign for me to turn everything off, and then I'm good to go. And then I have my night diary. It's just like, what are the 3 things you're grateful for? What lessons did you learn? And then I'm pretty much just reading to go to bed at that point.
We have it's 6:44. We have 6 minutes left, which should give us time for hopefully 2 questions. Eleanor, you are up.
Yeah,
welcome.
Thank
you. I'm glad you're here.
I appreciate your time, and I think this will be a short question. I always come to these sales things a little differently. I work for a nonprofit, and so we are like everyone's struggling, but I still think that it's just like it's hard. I was coming from like my best quarter to now just like not a lot, and while I know like brain positive, like being positive in the mind, I love that. I bullet journal, like definitely like love the like goals and everything. But like, do you ever just like sit sometimes in like sadness, or do you ever just like sit in like a sales loss and be just like, well, that sucks, and just kind of like, because sometimes I think, and maybe this like I'm just also offering this too. Sometimes I think like sitting with that low reminds me of like highs, or lets me know I can build back to that. So just curious, like on your thoughts about sitting in the suckiness for it too.
Yeah. You want to go? I have dealt with the same thing, so like I'm gonna just drill into this real quick. So one is it's okay to sit in that. I think sometimes people are like, oh no, like just be fired up all the time, and like I have a lot of energy, and most people think I'm just jack all the time, but like there are times where I sit down, I'm like, yo, this is not a good day. Yeah. Like this day sucks. Like what am I doing right now? But that's okay. And my dad always told me that you can have that moment, but don't forever have that moment. It's okay to have a problem. It's okay to have sadness, but the next day you better be coming up with the solution. That's what my dad always told me, because you just sit in it for a while. Okay, like really internalize that feeling, because in that feeling sometimes you'll realize some things, and you'll learn a lot of lessons in that. So it's okay to feel that way. But and the second point, Bryan, I'll let you go, is when I'm having a bad day, subconsciously I'm excited, and here's why. When you have a bad day, the next day is always great. When you have a bad week, the next week is always great. When you have a bad month, the next month is always great. When you have a bad quarter, the next quarter is always great. Because what I've always been told is You're either entering a storm, you're in a storm, or you're getting out of a storm. So as long as you have that perspective, then you're able to navigate those highs and lows and keeping everything steady.
I completely agree with Morgan that you need to be able to acknowledge sadness, right? Like that's a feeling, it's a true emotion, and it's something that you need to know that is going to be there. Like it's going to be there in your life. I want to add one thing to Morgan, because I think exactly what he said is exactly it. That's the answer. And I think the end piece is that no one in here has a superhero cape on. Okay, like we don't. No one's a superhero. So if you're struggling with sadness, if you're struggling with emotions, okay, first off, you need to find your outlet to talk to someone. You have to, like, and it's okay if you don't want to, you just want to be quiet to yourself. That's good too. But like, don't feel like, and I feel like this is the most unspoken thing in all of business, okay, across the board. Don't be afraid of mental health, guys. Like, you talk to people, find someone to talk to. If you can't find someone to talk to, there's apps, there's Talkspace, there's BetterHelp, right? Like, go find yourself someone to speak to and make sure that you have that outlet. Find your friend, go talk to a friend and have that outlet. But then once you talk through it, find that mechanism that helps you forward. And that's exactly right. Like, it's a healing thing. Okay. You want to heal from whatever it is that you are going through. And it's important, but I just want to make sure, like, it is okay for you to have down days. It is okay to feel sad. It is okay to have down moments in sales, because most of us are human. That's just the reality of it. Right. So 100%. I got time for one more question. One more. Don't be shy. Come on, let's get it off on a bang. Let's leave it at a high. Who's got one? Man, rough crowd. How would you plan and structure your day if your job got affected because of this COVID-19?
What does that mean?
Yeah, we can go with that one. So affected, meaning, I guess, you were impacted.
Like, job as in, like, you don't have your job? Like, job as in, like, you went from a leader to a rep? We got to clarify that, right? Because all our answers are going to be different based on what affected means. Is your industry get blown out? You see what I'm saying?
Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. And I agree. Let's go with the fact that there are a lot of people, and we know you and I personally, Morgan, know a lot of people that have lost their job in this market right now. Let's go down that road for a second. You just lost your job. Like, how do you plan and structure your day? Okay. I'm going to give you a few tips because I went through it, and I'm going to tell you exactly. You lost the job. Okay. So here's a couple things. First off, all right, make sure you take care of yourself. What does that mean? I'm not that's a broad freaking thing. Yep. I'm talking, make sure you're eating healthy, because it's the one moment in your life when you're going to start giving yourself some slack. Make sure you have a physical activity, because it's the one moment in your life where you're going to start giving yourself extra slack. Okay. Have a regimen. Your now new job is to find the next one. That's your new job. Welcome to it, man. When you're prospecting is no different than if you're prospecting to find customers. Your customer is now a job market. Okay. You're going to find ways to be networky. I got news for you. I got my job at eMarketer through my network. Just reaching out to someone, not saying, hey, can you get me a job? It was like, hey, I'm curious if you have a couple minutes to spend with me to lend me some advice. And you know what? People want to help other people. That's what it is. And people know other people. It wound up being that connection that got me a job at eMarketer. Make sure you have a regimen. You go into LinkedIn, dude, like Morgan and I both love LinkedIn. I know, because he's in there as much as I am.
Just a little bit.
Like, right? You're involved. All right. Go in there, build connections with people, ask for advice, find people that know people, and find places where people are hiring. And if I was being affected right now in this market, I would go find every SaaS or business that wasn't affected, that actually probably was generating business right now, because they need help. They need help. Think healthcare. Think people that are selling to the education market. You heard that come up a couple of times already today, right? Like, there are people that absolutely are servicing customers. Let's go find them and go and get in front of them and go make those connections, and you're going to find a way in.
I'm going to tell you guys exactly what to do.
Yeah, Morgan, I don't know about you, man.
Another acronym for you. RTR. Rip the resume. Rip your resume. Rip the resume immediately. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. Because what ends up happening is that just like there's automation on cadences, there's automation on you applying for a job. So you just start going through the motions. You're like, oh, all these people are hiring, and you flood people with like 50 different job applications with their resume, and you're hoping one lands. In this marketplace, this is not going to work. So what you should do, right? If I got let go today, is exactly what I would do. I would go and figure out what are the top 10 companies I want to go work for, and I'd put them in a spreadsheet. Then I'd figure out in those 10 companies, who should I be targeting? It depends on your role, right? You're probably targeting someone that is a director of sales, a director of sales development, maybe VP sales, right? Maybe CRO if you want to go there. Like, obviously that's what you're doing. You're not going to target the recruiter. You're going to target the hiring manager, right? So you can get pulled to actually get the interview and get above the stack of resumes. And I'm speaking from experience. How I got my SDR job is I cold called the VP of sales. Like, I didn't even fill out a resume. And I have no plans of ever looking at my resume ever again. That was my one criteria coming out of college. I was like, I don't even want to look at this. And so the next thing is, once you have those 10 companies in play, and then you also have those prospects, when you do those 10 companies, understand the industries, right? You guys heard me say your ICP's ICP. So what does that mean? Right now, I'd go look up what are the companies that are going to move forward here. So that means social media tools. They're hot right now. E-commerce tools, companies that are in risk compliance, companies that are in cybersecurity, companies that are in IT, ad tech. These are companies you should be targeting because you know they're going to have runway to hire you, and you're not going to get let go as soon as you're in there. Also, key element as well as a sales rep, make sure that they have someone in sales enablement. You
gotta cut us? Oh, I love you, brother. I gotta cut us because we got to get back.
Oh my gosh,
we are well out of time. Look, man, I know. I'm in the same boat. Look, guys, these are great questions. You connect with both Morgan and myself on LinkedIn and ask these questions. We will absolutely give you those details and those insights. Right now on the left-hand side, click sessions, and let's head back to the main stage and come on back over. We're gonna have 10 more minutes, and then we'll get out of here. But we're gonna have 2 more good questions left for tonight.